All right, traders, time for some big picture forecasting here on the S&P E-minis. I did a video recently showing a pretty specialized calculation that I used to find a key bounce point. We actually had a real big bounce there, but we've started to sell off a bit. So I thought I would do an update and show you some more to the equation here. This is really fascinating stuff here. Going back to this low here in October of 2011, we created this impulse, and I was able to create some geometry with this triangle based on the structure that happened, and use this ongoing as a projection tool. But the arrangement of price along this triangle, as well as some ratios that exist around this triangle, and then using subsequent swing lows to project forward, the collision points at these key ratios have turned out to be pretty key points in the market, key turning points. And most recently, the end of this one here coming right about at the spike high that we had. Now, in the live room and in some of the recent videos that you may have seen, this entire balance beam zone here, north of 1621 and south of about 1662, is one where on a smaller time frame there's been a lot of trading opportunity. As I mentioned in the room this morning, we broke below 27s, and with a 27 break we're looking for a move down to 21. And below 21, that opens up the air pocket for price to move lower. Okay, not as much trading there. And 1613 to 1609 was the next target zone. We've actually pushed through that. We're at 1604s right now. And the next zone that I had highlighted was 93 to 89. But there's a lot more to this than just those downside targets there. This air pocket here has a tendency to move price. And since we've broken below a key floor support, the direction would be down. This next key balance beam here comes in at 1550, and we've got a little bit of potential slowdown in the low 1580s to upper 1570s. But as the arrangement of this geometry has existed and the ratios within have been resonating with this market in a huge way, there's a chance that that will still continue. So just a couple things to point out here. Some of the retrace zones I have highlighted here for each piece of this puzzle here. And the most recent high that we've had here, if we're going to start to emulate what's happened in the past, a few things to look at would first of all be this sell impulse represented by this deep green line here, and then this impulse selling here with the second green line. And they both come in at key spots. If we emulate this sell impulse here, we will come in exactly at this uptrend channel, which also happens to be at the 1.3416, and that comes in around 1564.65. Okay, now if we emulate this deeper sell impulse here, that would break this bottom channel and take us down exactly to the point where both of these lines cross. That happens to be at the 1.732 extension at the 44.72 retrace, which was exactly the spot that we retraced on this particular triangle. Okay, so both of these sell impulses have ratio confluence with what's happened in the past, projecting forward, looking at some key points there. The next thing that I want to mention was when we were at this spot here, I had 1588 and 1662 as upside targets, and I mentioned that if we break above here, this uptrend channel that was a top resistance line was likely going to shift, and we would see a one-to-one harmonic move upwards, remember? So there's the 1588 touch back down, and then there's the 1662 touch with about a 20-point plus overshoot there. We broke back below, and here's where all the battle has been, is within this balance beam here. We've just broken below it for the second time. We saw that calculated bounce before for that nice move up, and now we've broken below. So moving through this air pocket here down into this lower region is one to watch out to move stops down on any of these positions, whether you're position trading the futures or stocks. But this harmonic activity right here is one that you've got to watch. This secondary push would be down into the 1530 camp. So I have highlighted over here, these were the numbers I showed you in the room this morning. 1565 is what I'm calling the bottom channel touch here. Then 1552 is the 382 retrace and happens to be near this balance beam spike. Then we go to 30 to 28, and that's this larger sell impulse coming in at the fulcrum point of this double triangle hit right here. Now below that, we move into yet another air pocket. There happens to be a fair bit of trading in the at the absolute 1500 level here, but could get down a bit lower than that. And there's obviously a lot of trading commitment here. Just to keep some big numbers on the plate here, 1486, 1456, and then down to the dominator here, 1414 to 1411. If we find support here on this emulation of this sell impulse here, then we would look for a retest of the channel top here, and if we reclaim that channel top, then there's a good shot of retesting the highs up here. And then you'll remember from one of the more recent videos, I've got 1663.50 up here as a trigger for retesting the highs that we hit. So if we happen to move up, clear the top of this balance beam, that's still a trigger. That still implicates retesting these highs in further upside to new targets. But at this time, we've broken the floor here, and that puts a lot more ease of movement down. And so that's what we're looking for. Okay, I'll keep you up to date on this in the live room. And there's your S&P update for now.